Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me here today. This should be a lot of fun because I want to show you some things about your putt and chip because it is still December, right? We have about 2 weeks left in the beautiful month of December. And so, as I've mentioned to you the last few weeks, we can still get a lot done with our golf games in the month of December, even though it's cold for most of us in the country. So let me do one or two things here to show you some very interesting things about what we can do in December for our games. So do one or two more things here. Excuse me just a minute. So what I want to show you is that when it comes to putting and chipping, both of those shots are very similar. And the feel and the overall feel of those two shots and what you're trying to accomplish with each of those two shots is very similar. And so I have this putter and I want to give you a couple main things to remember about your putt that many of you have seen in your videos that you're watching in your right golf answers. And so here, right, is a normal looking putting stroke right here. And what we want though is to get this putter swinging as much as possible on a natural arc. With no manipulation in our stroke. And so as much as possible, we would want our shoulders turning like a pendulum with no breaking of our wrist this way or breaking of our wrist this way or turning of our wrist this way. So as much as possible, we simply want our shoulders turning back and through like this. So that's the simplicity of a good putting stroke. Now, for a lot of us, that might be a little more easier said than done, correct? So the thing I also want you to appreciate is that when it comes to your chip, most of you will be using a 6 or 7 or 8 iron for your chip. Okay, a chip is not a pitch. Okay, a chip feels much more like a putt because it flies low and then it runs along the ground most of the way to get to the hole. So for a chip, this is an 8 iron. I actually have a bit of a learning aid on this 8 iron right at this moment. But with the chip, we would be doing the same thing with our stroke, with our actual swing. The idea is we're simply turning our shoulders to move the club. We're not keeping our shoulders still and moving our wrists or our hands to move the club. So we don't want any of that hand action in the stroke for our putt or our chip. We don't want any of that hand action in our stroke for our chip or our putt. This, when we get this going on, look how much that face is opening and closing. If I'm not turning my shoulders, you see my shoulders aren't moving. The logo on my chest here is not moving at all. The only thing moving the club there is my hands, my wrists. And look how much that face opens on the backswing, closes on the downswing. Whereas when we just turn our shoulders to move the club, you see the face is not opening and closing near as much, which is a good thing when it comes to our putt and our chip both. This would be me turning my shoulders, and you just see the face is not opening or closing very much at all relative to the target line. This would be me not turning my shoulders, but simply moving the club with my hands and wrists. And so this is going to tend to create a lot more consistency in terms of direction and in terms of distance when it comes to our putt and our chip. So what I want to show you now are a couple of really good ways to practice your putt and your chip, even when you're at home. So you can see that I have a hole right there. Now, many of you, I'm sure, do not have a 4¼ inch hole in your floor somewhere at home, but you can use all manner of things that are about 4¼ inches in diameter for your target at home for your putting and chipping. And I would highly suggest that you simply putt to that target there at home and see how you do. There's the best sound in all like golf, that ball going in the hole. I love it. There we go. So there are two 1-putts and a 2-putt. So doing that with your putt is obviously going to be very helpful for you at home in the winter here in December. But then you can also do it just as easily for your chip. Again, your 6 or 7 or 8 iron will be the club that's best for you for your chip. A low shot, it flies low and then runs on the ground the rest of the way like it's running for a putt. That's what we're after when it comes to that chip. There we go. We like that going in the hole. And there's a nice tap in. This one, quite a bit short, but it still gets down in 2 shots. So use that chip at home. You see, I'm having right there, I'm having about 11 feet to the hole there for that putt, those 3 putts I hit, and for those 3 chips I hit. So any questions about that? I will unmute everyone. if you have any questions at all about that, the fact that you can practice your chip at home as well as your putt this December to really get ready for a great 2024. Everyone's unmuted. If you have any questions at all, you can ask that now. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm gonna go back and mute everybody. And now, here's another thing I want to mention to you that really is a lot of fun. I want to show you this. I saw this just a few days ago on YouTube. What you're seeing here is a match between that Bryson DeChambeau challenged Sergio here in the last couple of weeks, apparently, to a match. But interestingly, I will not, well, I'll spoil a little bit of the suspense here. I'll go ahead and let it play a little bit. But there's a twist to it. They can only use one club. And it's at Sergio's home course. I think it's down in the Austin area, Dallas, maybe somewhere down in Texas. But I would ask you if you could imagine this, all right? I actually watched this. I found this to be quite entertaining and quite educational and quite awe-inspiring. But I would ask you this, and I will unmute you all in a couple minutes here. I will unmute everyone in a couple minutes to get your input on this and see what y'all's guesses would be at this. Guess which club they each chose. Okay. They were only allowed one club. Some more lay of the land here, some more rules I'll tell you about. They played the back tee markers. I didn't add up the yardage precisely, but it looked to me like it was a normal tour layout, like it was about 7,000 yards. So they could each only use one club. They could choose whichever club they want to use, and they were allowed to use their putter, but they were only allowed to use their putter on the green proper. They were not, if it was an inch off the green, they had to use that other club, the one club they had chosen. But if it was on the green, then they were allowed to use their putter. So I have two main questions for you. What club do you think each of them chose? So that'll spoil a little bit of it for you. And then what do you think they would shoot? So I was actually a little bit surprised by what they shot. I'll give you a little clue there. So my questions to you, first question is, what club do you think they chose? And they didn't necessarily choose the same club. So what do you think each of them chose as the one club they could use in addition to their putter? And secondarily, what do you think they shot? From 7,000 yards, they only played 9 holes. This is Bryson challenging Sergio to a 9-hole match. So I'm going to unmute everyone. And if you want to chime in with the answers to those questions, feel free. What you think might have happened there. What one club do you think each of them chose? And then the second question is, what do you think they shot?
Can you hear me, Joel?
I can hear someone, yep.
This is the dude, Tennessee.
All righty.
I'd say they used a 7-iron and they shot 45.
Okay. And so, and I'm going to try to not spoil it for you guys. Has anybody seen this? Nope. Okay, so I don't want to spoil the suspense for you here a little bit. So I would tell you that you're thinking they each chose 7-iron, is that right?
Yes.
I would tell you you're correct for one of them.
Hi, Joel. This is Bob Purdy. Yeah, I would say 7-iron one, maybe 8-iron for another.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
and not sure who would use which. 18 holes, 7,000 yards,
9 holes.
9 holes,
Yep, 7,000, 3,500 yards.
3,500. Okay. Yeah, I would say probably 42.
Okay, so now I'm going to mute everybody. And I will tell you, so I don't want to spoil it. I would tell you you're correct on the 7-iron for one of them. And that means you're incorrect. The other guy did not choose the 7-iron. So I'll tell you that much. And then I will tell you, I think the two guesses I've had so far were 42 and 45. And I will tell you that, believe it or not, so I won't spoil it for you, they shot lower than that. And so I was about to scroll forward on the video here to show you a couple of the amazing clips I saw, but I don't want to do that because I think when I scroll past, I might spoil some of the scores for you, or some of the clubs that the other player chose. But I will tell you this much. Y'all guessed correctly on the 7-iron for one of the players. The other player did not use a 7-iron. And you guessed higher than they actually shot. And I will tell you this, I didn't guess a club. So I got to say that. I didn't guess a club when I started seeing this a few days ago, but I did guess a score, and these guys also shot lower than I would have guessed. So I'm with y'all. I guessed higher than they actually shot. It's an amazing thing to watch. And I will tell you that it surprised me how well they played. Now, let me ask you this. I'll unmute everybody again. Let me ask you this. Where do you think the one club hurt them the most? I'll ask you two questions. Where do you think the one club hurt them the most? Where do you think the one club hurt them the least?
Inside of 50 yards.
Inside of 50 yards, helped them or hurt them?
Hurt them.
I'd say it hurt him most off the tee and the least on the approach.
And the dude, where would you say it hurt them the least?
Off
The approach.
What does the dude say?
Their second shot, par 4, for example.
I think it's the tee shot's the least affected, and the chip would be the most affected.
All right. So we got opinions from Bob and the dude. Any other opinions from anybody else? All right. So I'm going to say the dude is correct. And the guess from Robert is incorrect. Both guesses from Robert are incorrect. Both guesses from the dude are correct. It helped, or it hurt them the least on the tee shot. The clubs these fellas choose, they were still hitting it about as far as I hit my driver. I hit my driver about 215 in the air, and it rolls out to about 240 under normal conditions. So the one club each of these guys chose, they hit about that far off the tee. So and they had no trouble keeping it in play off the tee. So they were still hitting a tee shot that was, like I said, equal to about my 240 or 250 yard drive. So it really didn't hurt them that much on the tee shot. I think it might have been Robert or someone else guessed that it really wouldn't hurt him that much on the approach, and it didn't. It didn't really hurt him that much on the approach. Where it did hurt them was around the edges of the greens. So the dude guessed correctly there also. So, and what happened there was, I won't give it away, but they were just missing, believe me, when they got around the greens, on some of these shots, they were indeed missing their other clubs that were in their bag back in the clubhouse, you know? So, so the dude has guessed correctly there. And the reason I kind of gave you all this little test here is because this is a good way to just kind of understand or help you understand how well do you really understand golf overall. And when you see this video, I hope y'all will watch it. When you'll see this video, you will indeed see these same principles that many of you have heard me talk to you about for 15 or 20 years, some of you even that long, these same principles, that this is indeed golf success for each of the 5 shots in golf. Right there. And you will be amazed at the scores these two fellas shot. And then also, this same principle here, that I like to say that a consistency is eliminating the 3 main bozo shots. They create big holes at any level of play, right on up through the level of tour players. And you'll see this occur in this match. So it really will be quite entertaining, quite a lot of fun for you to watch that. And then the other thing I want to mention is that some of you are playing in the fall league right now, and the winter league has started. A couple of teams have already started playing in the winter league. So feel free, I'll unmute everybody again here. If you have any questions at all about the winter league, the fall league is finishing up now. The winter league, about 4 teams, I think, have played at least 1 round in the winter league now. So that'll be a lot of fun. Does anyone have any questions about the winter league?
Yeah, I haven't, this is David. I haven't heard from Dave. So have you heard from Dave Hare?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'll reach out to him, see if he wants to.
So ask David if he's playing on the winter league. You can start anytime now. You'll have until the Masters to finish your 6 9-hole rounds. So it'll be quite a bit of fun. Any other questions about the winter league, how we do things? I have the scoreboards here for many of our past seasons. This was a past season there. And you see what happens is the 2-player team plays a scramble 9 holes each, and then they play 9 holes each of alternate shot. Then they play 9 holes more of a scramble. And there you see some of the scores. The scores vary quite a bit. Some teams will shoot over 100 when it comes to the alternate shot. And then some teams will shoot as low as down in the 50s when it comes to the scramble. That's pretty fun to see those scores. Schedule at your leisure, any time of the day or night, any day of the week. We will have fun, your 2-player teams. It's a good way. We don't call it a formal lesson. We just kind of call it a cross between playing and practicing and getting a lesson. But it's a good time for me to see your game, see you play 6 9-hole rounds with a friend. So a lot of good fun and laughs. All right, so that's all I wanted to cover today. I just wanted to show you again that you can practice your chip in December at home, just like you can practice your putt on your turf. You don't want to practice pitching like this in an indoor setting because you hit it thin, you're going to break a window or something or hurt another human being in the house. But you can practice your chip because the chip, you're swinging about the same easiness as you are at a putt. So you can practice your chip and your putt in December. We have about 10 more days to come out of December really fired up about feeling great about your putt and your chip. And then the second thing I want to show you today, again, was this fun match between Bryson and Sergio. And of course, all their banter between them is quite interesting, quite fun. And then the last thing I want to mention to you there is any questions at all about the Winter Learning League. So thanks so much for joining me again today. And look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. This is just office hours. Any questions you have about your game, feel free to ask them about your game or about golf in general. We'll do this Wednesday office hours, different times on Wednesdays, but always on Wednesdays through the fall and into the winter.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks so much, y'all. We'll see you soon.
All right,
Take care.
bye-bye.